Pickle, we've been waiting a long time for really a moment like this where we could truly celebrate the return of college football. We've had some games the past couple of weeks. What we haven't had is just a big old slate.
No.
And how better to celebrate
Terrible.
than the return of America's favorite segment? It's free money!
Least favorite
Free
segment.
money! My college football picks against the spread, but not just my college football picks against the spread.
This is the only positive about this whole thing.
We go live to the Greg Powers Memorial Power Zone, where we're joined by the City of Arlington's own Arlington Convention and Visitors Bureau. I always forget your title. It's fancy.
I'm the guy.
You're the
vice
Arlington
president
guy.
of events and sports and events.
Yeah.
Sports and events.
Ah,
It's
I
Matt
made
Wilson.
I made a graphic yesterday.
Hi, Matt. Welcome to the Power Zone.
Thank you for having me.
Let's talk about what you guys got going on in Arlington because it's everything apparently.
Yeah.
So, I guess I don't know.
Oh, here comes a hot take from Tepper.
Do you feel bad about ripping the rodeo, the National Finals rodeo away from Vegas? Do you feel bad about ripping the NLCS and the World Series and bring from their home and bringing them to Arlington? You've got all these big events going on in Arlington. Do you feel a little bit bad?
No.
Okay. No, it's
beautiful.
It's big doings. Big doings in Arlington. First, and I know when the National Finals rodeo got announced, someone here, you know me, I'm the resident city slicker here.
Yeah.
Ironically, a Capel cowboy.
Yes, I know.
Yeah.
That is anything but.
But there was somebody who was fired up about the National Finals
Me.
rodeo.
Hi, that's me.
This seems like a big get for y'all.
Yeah, it really is. Really is. Yeah, we've been very fortunate because we have great facilities. I mean, I'd love to tell you it's my winning smile, but it's not. This beard can only do so much. But they have great facilities like what we have and great partners with the Rangers and the Cowboys and a lot of the folks there in Arlington. We're very fortunate. But, we'll look at the entire month of October, the sports world will focus on Arlington, Texas. So we'll have the National League Division Series, National League Championship Series, and then, of course, the World Series the last week there in October. Today, this afternoon, we'll announce another major event that will take place in November. I can't talk about it yet.
That's a tease.
Tease, yes. And then National Finals Rodeo in December. That's December 3rd through the 12th. Then we'll have Big 12 Championship game. Then we'll have UIL State Championships for Class 1A through 4A. And then the Cotton Bowl. So we've got a pretty full slate this fall and winter.
It really is. And to kind of put a fine point on it, I remember going to Las Vegas, which is where the National Finals Rodeo has been in the past, during National NFR weekend. It's bananas.
Yep.
Like, I did not, me being me, I did not necessarily recognize the gravity of that event. That is a massive, massive event.
Yeah. I mean, really, the Thomas and Mack Center seats about 16,000 to 17,000 people. But Vegas will have over 600,000 people go out for National Finals Rodeo, meaning there are thousands and thousands of people that never step foot into the rodeo that are out there for the culture. They're out there for just a good time.
The scene.
Yeah, they're out there for the scene, and people go back every year. That is a thing that they do every year. Every December, you can catch them at the rodeo. And, to be able to bring that to Arlington has been really, really cool.
I can only imagine how many people are going to be there for the scene when it's in Texas alone.
Yeah.
I mean, when you only have to drive there, giddy up, cowboy, you're heading to the rodeo.
You look at like what the Houston rodeo puts on in the Mesquite, like it's big.
It's
doings,
big doings.
Big doings. And then you mentioned baseball. Obviously, the Rangers have been playing there. Theoretically, they've been playing there.
Yes,
I've watched a lot of them. But then there will be they'll have the bubble there in Arlington for the for the NLCS and then the World Series.
NLDS, NLCS, and World Series. Yeah.
So all those events going on at the new Globe Life Field. And we were talking beforehand. The fact that the World Series is going to be there is historic in its own right, because for those who don't follow baseball, it's usually like the home teams. Like if it's Houston versus LA, then it goes between Houston and LA. Here, it's going to be at a predetermined site for the first time in 100 years.
116 years.
Oh my gosh!
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty cool. And it's worth mentioning, my son's been at pretty much every
He
Rangers
is
game.
a regular.
He's a
I mean,
regular.
he's a season ticket holder.
He's there. He's smiling the whole time. He's got a cap on.
Some people say that Hank, it really is the good luck charm for a lot of the players. Joey Gallo has mentioned Hank being an inspiration.
All right,
Tepper's about to cry.
Don't check the Rangers record right now.
Okay, sorry.
that might really undercut the.
I haven't forgotten that record. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. All right, we are here because fundamentally, outside of
I
your
liked doing this better.
outside of your job as bringing giant sports events to Arlington, Texas, which, by the way, we should also mention, there is football this weekend.
Yep.
We've talked a lot about the doubleheader as part of the Texas Football Days, the UIL 100 celebration with Arlington, Martin, and Denton Ryan, and then Longview and Temple at AT&T Stadium. But then there's a game before it at AT&T Stadium at the I believe it's Burleson Centennial,
Right.
playing there, and then Saturday there's a triple header. Arlington, Seguin, and Fort Worth Wyatt, Weatherford, and Aledo, and then the Battle of the Red Rail,
Yes.
Grapevine, and Colleyville Heritage.
Yep.
Those games are going on at Globe Life Park.
Yep.
Globe Life Park.
The old ballpark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I
It's
can't
okay to say it.
Okay.
It's okay to
the
say
old
it.
ballpark, but they're having it there, and I think it's rather remarkable that suddenly you guys. Obviously, everybody knows AT&T Stadium. That's where the UIL state championships happen and the big games. But you guys have this. I don't want to say new facility. It's been around for some years, but now suddenly another really cool facility to host football games.
That's right. Yeah. So the old ballpark, if you want to call it Globe Life Park or the old ballpark, that's fine with us. The Rangers invested a lot of money into turning that into a first-class football facility. So they have brand new turf. Really was the home for the Dallas Renegades to start off with. But it's a great place to go watch college or high school or college football, and I think that you'll see some colleges playing there possibly this next year. But, plenty of parking. You're right across the street from Texas Live. You can go across, catch up on some games, see what's going on, and then go across the street for some great high school football. So really we're fortunate. We'll really have 3 facilities that can host high school or college football in Globe Life Park, Globe Life Field, and AT&T Stadium. So very fortunate.
Yeah.
And Step will be there for all 5 of those games, Friday and Saturdays. But he the road trip video, we got to plug that because he talks a lot about the food at Texas Live.
And he's basically going to be a resident of Arlington.
Well, recently he's mentioned that he's been in Arlington for Hurtado Barbecue.
Yes.
And has not called me. So he's come into my backyard to eat Hurtado Barbecue. And I didn't get an invite.
Are the Texas Twinkies as good as he makes them out to be?
Yes, they are.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
They looked phenomenal.
He talked about them, and it was a problem on the show.
Yeah.
All right, but we're here not only to talk about the big doings going on in Arlington, but you are fundamentally at your core an expert handicapper.
Yes.
Yes, that's what you do. That's what you do. And so we have 8 games. There were going to be 9. There are 8 games as of we're recording this at 10:01 a.m. on Thursday. Feels like
that
an
could
important
change.
caveat.
Yeah, it could change.
Important
Check
asterisk.
your local listings.
But there are 8 games this weekend involving Texas teams, the biggest slate to date, and we will start Pickle on Friday.
On Friday, Conference USA, we've got Middle Tennessee at UTSA, 7 o'clock p.m. UTSA favored by 6 at home.
This is a game that was kind of thrown together on the fly. Both UTSA had a cancellation, and so Middle Tennessee said, "Hey, we'll come and play." So you're dealing with a situation where you don't have as much time to prepare.
Are they counting this as a conference game?
That I don't know. Ooh, that's a good question.
That is a good question.
But obviously, an important game here. Jeff Traylor off to a great start there at UTSA. What I need to see is this offense kind of get its Texas State legs back under it. It looked great in the opener last week. It did not look as great against Stephen F. Austin. I think that the rushed nature of this game would lend itself to a close game. As a result, I'm gonna give the points here. I'm gonna lay the points. I'm gonna go 6.5. Middle Tennessee plus 6.5 to keep this thing within a touchdown.
Birds up.
Oh,
what they say. Yeah, I started my career at the Alamo Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
My first office was in the Alamo Dome, and got locked out of my office for the first time there at the Alamo Dome. So that was pretty cool. I really like UTSA. I like their roster. I felt like their defense has some dudes. They have some guys that a lot of colleges around the state would like to have. So yeah, give me the Roadrunners.
I like it. Okay, what's next pick? We're moving to Saturday.
There we go. Saturday, a Big 12 matchup here. Iowa State at TCU, 12:30 p.m. on Saturday. Iowa State favored by 2.5 on the road.
TCU will finally play a football game.
Knock on wood, sir.
Sorry, my
Don't get ahead of yourself.
TCU
at 10:03.
10:03 scheduled to play a football game. It sounds like Matthew Downing is going to get the start for them, but it does, from what I understand, I think Max Duggan has been cleared to play, so he could see some time in this one. Obviously, the big question was going to be there. Iowa State enters this game at 0-1 after spitting the bit to who they lose in non-conference.
Arkansas State.
Yikes.
Yeah, that's right. Sun Belt. It was that was the weekend of the Sun Belt chaos.
Wait, was it Arkansas State, or was it?
That was the demise of the Big 12
or
week.
Or Louisiana. I can't remember.
See.
It was one of the two.
Someone lost
they
to
lost to
Arkansas
Louisiana,
State.
31-14.
Yeah.
Lost to Louisiana.
Kansas State lost to Arkansas
that's
State.
right.
Yeah.
So Louisiana. We're
Bad Big 12
we're a football
energy.
show.
Yeah.
Here's the thing about Louisiana or Iowa State is that I'm not sure they can score. And when you're talking about a team that you're not sure if they can score, going up against a Gary Patterson coach defense that has now had like 19 weeks to prepare for Iowa State, obviously big questions on the offensive side. I want to see that offense get into gear. But if you're telling me I can get a TCU home dog, that seems like free money.
Yeah.
I'm going to take TCU plus 2.5.
Ew.
Brock Purdy looked lost.
Oh.
I mean, for a guy who's played some ball, this wasn't his first start. This wasn't his even fifth start. Was disappointed to see that he looked lost.
Yeah.
Was very indecisive, threw into coverage. Those are things you cannot do when you go into Fort Worth and play a Gary Patterson coach football team, is be indecisive with the ball. Give me the Frogs.
I agree. I think that if this game were if there is a line there that they could give me, but it would certainly be TCU catching some points.
Yeah.
Like that would be my thing. So I'm going to go with TCU plus 2.5. What is next, Ashley?
All right, let's take it back to the homeland of Mr. Wilson. We've got number 8 Texas at Texas Tech, 2:30 p.m. on Saturday. Texas favored by 18 on the road. I threw up the Tech picture behind you.
Oh,
if you missed that, you're welcome.
Thank you.
I'm going to go to our Texas Tech insider, Matt Wilson, for some breakdown on this game.
I've got to be very, very careful in what I say here. Ma Wilson is listening. I promise I will hear whatever I say today back again. Me going out to Lubbock for a college football game against Texas is kind of like the flight to Vegas. I think good things might happen. I'm hopeful that good things might happen. I know I'm going to have a good time while I'm there. But I also know that in the back of my mind, the flight back could be miserable, that I could really regret some of the choices I made. So will I go out to Lubbock this weekend? I don't know. Will Texas Tech win? I don't think so. I think I'd speak for every Red Raider fan in the country when I'd say I was really blankly staring at the screen during the Houston Baptist game. I've never had a more disappointing win in my life. But be that as it may, Texas Tech at home, I would like to think that they won't embarrass us.
Wow, what a ringing endorsement.
And the line is 18?
Yes. Line is 18.
Give me Tech.
Wow.
Oof.
Wow. Here is the reason to take Tech. Here's the reason to take Tech. And to be clear, I'm not. The reason to take Tech.
Thank you.
Lubbock.
The reason to take Tech is that this game's in Lubbock, and traditionally, Tech plays Texas pretty tough in Lubbock.
It's also a day game.
Yeah.
I mean,
which helps.
Night game, I would feel better about
Yeah.
Tech.
I would say I think it being during the daytime is helpful to Texas. I think if you compare and contrast how Texas and Tech looked in their non-conference games against, I would say we now have a data point, similar opponents, because UTEP did play Houston Baptist, and it was a very close game.
Yep.
One team looked super good, and the other team looked
not
pretty pedestrian, especially defensively.
Yeah.
That is my concern. I do think that the offense is going to be able to cook, but I'm not sure Tech's going to be able to slow down what looks like a really, really talented Texas offense. I'm going to take Texas minus 18, believe it or not, on the road, a double-digit road favorite. And I'm not just doing that because I like twisting the knife. I'm doing it because this is free money, and I owe the viewer.
You owe the viewer.
I owe the viewer.
Oh,
I think you
understand.
Break.
I understand.
What's next, Pickle?
Ugh. All right. We got UTEP at Louisiana Monroe, 2:30 p.m. Saturday. Monroe favored by 9.5 at home against the Miners.
Okay, so look, let's talk about your 2-1
Let's
UTEP
go.
Miners.
Hop on the bandwagon,
That's
baby.
right. Woo woo. Probably not gonna happen this week. I'll be honest. Now here's the thing. I do think that Louisiana Monroe is pretty bad.
Yeah.
I don't think they're very good. And this feels like the kind of game that UTEP, if there is a road game that they can win this year, it is this one. Two things. One, the offense has to find some sort of consistency. They have flashes, and then they go dormant for like 40 minutes, and then they'll flash again. But maybe this is think about it. How many teams are playing their fourth game this week? Like, very,
Not
very,
many.
very few.
Right.
In fact, boy, I don't need to look that up. They might be the only one. I mean, they have played. I mean, to play 4 games.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
yeah.
really few and far between.
That's some West Texas energy right
It
there.
sure is. That is some El Paso. That's some Mountain Time Zone energy.
Yeah.
Here's what makes this an easier pick for me. 9.5. Give me UTEP. I think UTEP's going to keep this thing. I think they lose. I think Louisiana Monroe wins outright. But I think UTEP keeps this thing within a touchdown. I'm going to take a road dog here. Give me the road dogs.
Give me the Warhawks.
Okay. All right.
Smart
Boy,
man.
we disagree on a lot. This
Yeah.
week. All right. What is next, Pickle?
All right, up next, we've got Texas State at Boston College, 5 p.m. on Saturday. Boston College favored by 17.5.
Okay, let's take a moment. Low-key, the weirdest non-conference game we've had in years. Texas State going to Boston College. I looked this up. Here's a fun fact. A Texas team has not gone to Boston College since 1999. Baylor went up to Boston College in 1999. That's the last time.
Wow.
Super weird.
Is it because they have the same school colors?
Ooh, I didn't even consider that.
I mean, are people making matchups now based on school colors?
Maybe they were
It's
looking
2020.
around.
Why not?
Do we agree, though, on a total aside, do we agree now that we've now seen, and I know that you're in the business of like planning out events long ahead, do we agree now that we can certainly shorten the amount of time that we can schedule non-conference games?
Yeah. 2020 or 2031, we have this matchup. I'm like, man, I hope I'm alive in 2031.
Texas Tech going to Ohio State in 2074. It's like, okay.
Yeah,
cool.
we can shorten that time frame for
Like
sure.
the people who will play in that game have not been born.
Right.
Like, so yeah. Anyway, if you're looking for some really in-depth Boston College insights, I don't have a ton for you. Boston College is a pretty bad team, but they're at home. That's a long trip for Texas State. The good thing, here's the advantage for them, is that this is a 5 o'clock kick as opposed to, like, if this was like an 11 a.m. kick, then you get real screwy with the time zone.
Yep.
I think that'll help, but in the end, I do think Boston College covers this thing close. I'm going to take Boston College my 17.5.
Eat 'em up, Cats.
Oh, man.
I'm going to say eat 'em up, Cats. I love watching Texas State play this year.
Yeah.
They have 2 running backs that I really, really like a lot that I think are very underrated. Of course, we know that they have a couple of wideouts that are really, really good. Your trigger man, he can play great at times, and then there's times
Well,
where,
let's see who it is, too. Because,
Yeah.
if it's Vitt,
he's a nice game manager, I think.
Yeah.
McBride's probably the
Right.
game breaker.
but he'll also break your heart.
Yes, he will.
Making some bad decisions. But I will say that I think that Texas State goes up there and really surprises them with their offense. And if their defense can just hang in there, I think that they'll be okay. I'm not saying Texas State's winning outright, but 17.5 points, give me the Cats. And I just want to point out, I love Sewell Park. So that's why I love Texas State.
Okay. Yeah, I look.
It's a
You're
beautiful-
making me question all the things.
Good. This is beautiful.
Because here's the other thing: is that my mom is a Southwest Texas grad.
Yes.
And so part of me.
You're not allowed to change your pick. We've made that very clear, sir. We are not doing that this year.
No, Matt Wilson talked me into it. I'm going to take Texas State plus 17.5.
No, you dug your grave. You got to lay in
Matt
it.
Wilson
Eat 'em up,
and I
Cats.
are both going to have our little
Enjoy your Boston College fandom.
Our Bobcats pennants out. I'm sorry.
You're over the line. Market 0.
I'm going Texas State plus 17.5. All right. What's next, Pickle?
All right, a much shorter trip for SFA this week, going over to SMU, 6 p.m. Saturday. No line on this one. Who has it outright?
No line. It's SMU's going to win this game. Although, look,
there's no line.
I don't know if you. So Vegas has been weird. There are some places on the internet that I've heard about.
Yeah.
Right.
Who will put a line on an FBS versus FCS game? But that's not how we do things on Free Money. We go with what's the most available, and the most available is that there's no line on it. I know. SMU's going to win. I will say this: Stephen F. Austin under Coach Carthel, they're a pain.
Mm-hmm.
They're a pain to play. They're like no fun. Like they're a chore. And I think that they're really good at mucking it up and just like making you play a game. They haven't pulled through with a win yet. I don't think they're going to beat SMU. I think SMU's probably, I'm trying to run through who they've played so far. They're probably the best team they've played so far. But this is a team that's going to muck it up. I think they're going to keep this thing pretty respectable. But SMU at home, SMU's going to get the win.
SMU. Mm-hmm. I would say SMU by 10.
Okay, yeah, that seems about right. That seems very much like SFA made them sweat.
Yeah, and I love the fighting Carthels. Yeah. I do.
They are very solid. Let me see if I can find real quick on one part of the internet.
You're gonna crash our entire Wi-Fi.
No, they don't have a line.
On the dark web.
The dark web doesn't have one. Okay, what's next?
All right, up next, we've got some SEC action finally. Vanderbilt coming down to take on number 10 Texas A&M, 6:30 p.m. on Saturday. The Fighting Aggies favored by 31 at home.
No team has had a worse offseason than Texas A&M, who go from, in February, being like, man,
cupcake schedule.
They're a dark horse to win the SEC, to win the whole dang thing, to now, with all the opt-outs and with all of the schedule changes and everything, it being like, man, if they could win 6 games, that would be really solid. This is a gimme, though. This is a game they got to win. At home against Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt's probably the worst team in the SEC.
Easily.
Yeah. I mean, there's a couple other teams at the bottom that are I think our friend Mike Leach might have a tough year in Mississippi State, but that's neither here nor there. And also Missouri stinks. But also,
I wasn't going to say it.
I was waiting to see if I could bait him into that one.
I'm a lot more interested in kind of the way that this team looks. I think the A&M defense has a chance to be really, really good. Going up against a Vanderbilt offense that I don't think is going to be very good. It's going to be up to Kellen Mond to kind of put together the offense. I think A&M, believe it or not, I think A&M covers the 31. I think that being at home is going to be a big part of that. I'm going to take A&M minus 31.
No way does Texas A&M cover 31 points.
In the opener, at least.
I'm not a big fan of laying a lot of points on an opening game. Texas A&M has some questions that they got to answer. 31 points too much. Give me the Commodores.
All right. Finally, Pickle.
Finally, last up on the docket, a Big 12 matchup between Kansas and Baylor, 6:30 p.m. on Saturday. Baylor favored at home by 17 over the Jayhawks.
So here we're gonna test your theory about not laying a lot of points on a team, in the opener, because Baylor can't say they haven't tried. They've tried to play some games, but the Dave Aranda era will finally get going when they host Kansas. Kansas is a what's the word I'm looking for? A bad team. They're a bad team.
There you go. You hit the nail on the head.
They're bad, and they're kind of bad at everything. And while Baylor is going to have some kinks to work out, they will have a couple of advantages. Most notably, Charlie Brewer, who is going to take care of the football, and he's going to guide that offense. I am very interested to see what this defense looks like under Dave Aranda. I'm not here to tell you I think it's going to be a world beater right out of the gate, but I do think they're going to be able to score enough, and especially at home, they've been anxious to get on the field. I like Baylor to cover the 17.
I'll go Baylor. I'll go Baylor.
There we go.
Now, but 17 points is so different than 31. You're talking about a really solid victory versus like an embarrassing the other team. Yeah. give me Baylor in the points.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So my free money picks for week whatever this is. Time has no meaning. I like Middle Tennessee +6 at UTSA. I like TCU +2.5 at home against Iowa State. I like Texas -18 at Texas Tech. I like UTEP +9.5 at Louisiana Monroe.
You like Boston College.
I like Texas
you
State
like
+17.5
We're not changing
at Boston
that.
College. I like SMU over Stephen F. Austin. I like Texas A&M -31 at Texas A&M, and I like Baylor -17 at home against Kansas.